All right, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Let's get the music down. Let me see if I'm here. All right, yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Hopefully everybody can see me. We're gonna go for Claude Cowork, how to automate the tasks you repeat. Yes. Just double checking, making sure that everybody can hear me okay, see me okay, and that people connect. It's gonna just take a couple minutes, making sure that everybody can be on the same page. Yeah. So LinkedIn should be connected if you can't hear, okay. Or some people usually say that the quality of the visual of the screen is bad. If that happens, check your internet connection, refresh, or go to YouTube. The connection should be fine. Like, the quality should be fine from our end when we stream, but sometimes and the other end, you might get some problems. We've seen that many times. But how is everybody? All right, all right, all right, all right. Let's just make sure everybody can hear me okay, see me okay. Can I get on the chat? Also, where are you connecting from? Who you are? Where are you connecting from? Yeah. Just making sure that everybody can hear me, see me okay. Let's get some chats going. All right. Let's make sure we're posting that we're live as well. I mean, that should be posted automatically when we go live, hopefully. LinkedIn sometimes is a bit strange, ladies and gentlemen. If you've streamed before, you will know that LinkedIn is I'm going to say it, it's a nightmare for streaming, sadly, right? It's an absolute nightmare for streaming. I've had so much problems with LinkedIn, and usually it's not the other platforms, it's LinkedIn itself. Yeah, just double check there. Let's go, body. All right. Yes, Ahmed. Let's go, buddy. Right. That's awesome to see Ahmed here. All right, we have a few people live. Say where you're connecting from, what you're looking forward to, what do you want to learn about Claude Cowork, right? So, let me know. Let me know. Let me know. That's the idea, right? All right. I have Claude Code in the terminal working here at the same time, right? If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean, right? I think that we have a few people here that knows what I'm talking about. But we're not going to talk about Claude Code today, or maybe we just, you know, touch upon it, right? Like, just because sometimes people ask me what's the difference, right? Who wants to ask that question? Because I get that question in every training I do. What's the difference between Claude Chat, Claude Cowork, and Claude Code, right? Everybody asks me that. Can anybody try to guess that, or if you're asking me that question, I can definitely answer it, right? Again, we have a few people going live, coming in, just making sure. This is Claude Cowork, how to automate the tasks you repeat. All right. So here we go. Let me just share my screen. Let's just kick it off, right? Let's not, fluff about. You're not here to hear me just say shit, right? Chat shit, as we say, in a nice way. Hopefully, I don't get banned from the platforms, right? Hopefully, the platforms don't ban me. Oh, my screen has gone into the other place. This is all right. Let's just unshare it here quickly, guys. All right, and then let's share it here on the demo, on a cleaner demo screen, so that you guys can see this a bit better. So I'm gonna open Claude in the Mac app, okay? And why am I opening in the Mac app? Because there is no Claude Cowork on the browser. Fact number one. Or is there now? I don't think there is. So there is no, as I mentioned, there is really no Claude Cowork in the browser. Last time I checked, there wasn't, right? It only works in the apps. It works on the Windows app because Anuj here has the Windows app. It works on the Mac app, okay? And for some people, actually, they're like, oh, wow, it doesn't work on my computer. If it doesn't work on your computer, that means that you haven't updated your computer, you haven't updated your Claude, and also there are some settings, especially on the Windows. You have to allow these kind of terminalish sandbox kind of weird settings, right? I'm not a huge Windows guy, so I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly where, but you can definitely research it, and you'll find that it's not very difficult to find that information online, by the way. But I've had that a few times I've had that problem. People said, well, it doesn't work on my computer, right? So that is definitely an update or a setting issue. Okay, so we have Claude in front of us. This is my Claude. All right. Let me see if I can make it a little bit like, all right, here. That's a bit better, right? Yes. Now we're talking. Hopefully that stays there, right? It's kind of dynamic. So, um, so Claude Cowork is great. Yeah, but why is it great? The first thing is because Claude. So, chat, right? It's the typical place that we know. We ask questions, we get answers. It's like a just Google search, but on steroids. You can also kind of talk things through. You could do a bunch of stuff. It's awesome, right? But co-work is what I call get shit done, and then everybody laughs at this when I say that, right? So Claude Cowork is where you get shit done. Okay, so literally when I say Claude Cowork get shit done, I say it because it really is the place where you can get shit done. It's incredible, right? It's very, very, very powerful. It's so powerful that I think you got to be very careful, right? It's one of those. Actually, it is really, really, really. And I'm going to show you why also to be careful. But also, let's say that if this is core work is get shit done and code is build shit, right? So this is just chat shit, get shit done, and then this is build shit, right? LinkedIn, don't ban me for using shit too many times, but it is what it is, right? That's how I say it. This is get shit done, right? So let's go on co-work. So on co-work, okay, couple of things that I'm going to show you in a second, all right? But before that is new tasks, obviously very simple. Projects. Now we have projects in Cowork, which is awesome, and we'll potentially build a quick project together. Okay, because I think that projects I don't even use them enough, right? I think I should use them more. And then you potentially gonna be like, oh well, Tim's clothes looks quite empty. Yes, it does, because I mainly use Claude Codes in the terminal. Okay, but this doesn't mean you shouldn't be using Claude Cowork. I even told one of my team members, I was like, oh, well, we should start really using more. We should start using much more Claude Cowork, right? Because Claude Cowork it is very, very good. Okay. All right. So you can start a new project here. We'll do that in a second. Okay. You have scheduled tasks, right? This is where the magic is. Okay. And we will talk about that. That's a very important one. Okay. So we'll talk about that. And live artifacts, OMG, live artifacts are awesome. Okay. So we can build a quick live artifact together as well. All right. They are like mini applications. All right. And why is it so? Here is called artifacts, right, in the chat. Okay, and then Cowork is called live artifacts because each time you open your live artifact, what it does, it actually refreshes the data, right? Which artifacts doesn't do. So the live, it's live data, right? That's what it is about. Okay, so it's about live data. All right. And then dispatch is where you can send tasks from your phone, right? This is awesome. This is the reason why I got a Mac Mini, right? Actually, the reason was OpenClaw why I got a Mac Mini, but then now, like the main thing I use is Dispatch on my Mac Mini, and you'll see that I get this error because I have Claude in a few places. So I have Claude here as well. I'd have to close this Claude, by the way, just to make sure. Like I'll close this Claude on my laptop, okay, because it's the same account, right? And now, as you can see, Dispatch can work here. Dispatch is awesome. You can start tasks following from your phone, okay. And why? Because Claude Cowork is actually sandboxed environment on your computer. It's a sandboxed environment in your computer. That's an important thing, right? So that's why I'm posing, okay? It's a sandbox environment on your computer. It actually runs a virtual machine. Yeah. So I think that Anuj here on the chat said to run Cowork on Windows, the virtual machine feature needs to be enabled, right? So on Windows, there is actually a setting called virtual machine, right? So you have to make sure that you have that on. And that's what happens in a second. Let's and customize is where we're going to do skills and plugins, and we'll go there. Let's go on a new task, and let's just do something very simple, right? So let's start simple, okay, which is important. So what you will see now as well, okay, is I'm going to run this in a project, right? So it could be a project. I can create a new project like you just saw. Okay. Start from scratch, import a project, or use an existing folder, right? And this is important to know because you can choose a folder that is on your computer. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to very quickly, just for us, okay, on documents, I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a test Cowork folder, okay, just to be on the safe side for today. And I really recommend you, especially when you're starting to play with Cowork, to kind of direct it into a safe folder. All right, everybody that is live right now, please remember that. Okay, it is dangerous. This morning I was on a call with a dear friend, okay, Doruk, and he said that somebody had deleted, a bunch of things on their database, right? And I said it clear. I said, like, look, nobody can blame AI on this, right? It's the human's fault because it clearly, it clearly asked you, okay. It's clearly asked you if you want to delete things or not. And it's like, oh yeah, the person didn't read it. They wanted to go fast, right? So 99% of the time now, especially when you're working with like Claude Opus 4.8, you're working with the latest like frontier models. If something gets deleted or there's a problem, there's a 99% chance it's your fault. Sorry, I said it. Don't get upset, but there's a 99% chance that it's your fault. Okay. So Claude never decides on his own, like, I'm going to delete everything, right? If it's going to do that, it says, hey, I'm thinking of deleting everything. What do you think? And you just say, allow, yes, right? And they're like, oh shit, right? And then you realize it's too late. Okay, so please do read everything, right? That's very important, right? So awesome. We have Christy. Thanks for sharing. It's a sandbox environment if you select virtual environment, right? So as you can see right now, this is why I pose here. Allow Claude to change files in Test Cowork. Test Cowork is the name of my folder locally on my computer. Okay, so I can allow it, or I can always allow. That means that it would never ask me again about changing files, or I can allow it, and then next session or anything like that, and then I start something new, it's going to ask me the permissions again. If I cancel it, we're not going to be able to do anything. Okay, but for today's sake, me, because I know it's a test folder, there's nothing in it, it's a safe folder, I'm going to always allow. Okay? Yeah? Cool. All right. So I've always allowed my Cowork. So I'm a test Cowork. And as you can see, we even now starting to have even more security features, right? Permission features. So ask before acting or act without asking. Okay? It's confusing, isn't it? Ask before acting, act without asking. I love it. Right? I love how they put it. But ask before acting or forward act without asking. Okay, let's just, for the first couple things, let's just leave it on ask before acting for us. Okay, just to practice. But I'm very confident on my usage of Claude. I usually will say act without asking. Okay, and the second you do that, remember that also you have connectors. Okay, very quick. All right, so we have connectors. Connectors are here, as you can see. Connectors. I have Calendly, Gamma, which we don't use anymore. Actually, I could delete it. I don't have Gamma anymore. I deleted my account. You don't need it because Claude can do some incredible stuff. I have my Gmail, my Google Calendar, my Google Drive, Granola, where I take call notes and transcripts, and then my Notion, where most of our business run. Sanity is our content operating system. Slack, as you know, is the chat. Claude in Chrome. This is the magic. If you've never used Claude in Chrome, this is the best thing, right? I said it. I said it. Okay. This is the best thing. Mercury is my banking. You can add stuff from your Google Drive, from Notion, or from Sanity right away as well. Sanity is our content operating system of our website. Okay. So also, as you saw when I said ask without asking, is going to ask me what are the tools that I allow that it could act without asking. Right? So that I allow the tools, and then I can also act without asking in Chrome, which is Claude in Chrome. So it can open any file, it could open any URL, any website, any sites, and then it could do any actions without asking me. Okay. So let's not do that for today. Let's just do ask before acting for now. Okay. So, and then very important, we have our model selector. It's funny. Well, I think that number is a bit less now, is 85% of the people that I speak to, that I train and so on. I'm like, have you switched the model? They're like, what model? Why? Right. And now it's a bit more obvious, but before it wasn't as obvious, especially in ChatGPT. And Claude's a little bit more obvious nowadays, but in ChatGPT it was auto, there was instant, and then there was thinking, and before that there was GPT 4.0, there was O1, O3, which was the reasoning models, and nobody had switched before, and they would not see the real power of AI. And they would tell me, oh, AI is shit. And I'd be like, well, no, let me show you, And then I would show them and they would go, oh my God, you changed my life, right? Just yesterday, I heard that I changed about 51 people's lives in a company of 1,000 people. So I'm so excited, right? Cool. So Opus 4.8, it's the best model right now. It's a very good model, by the way. Very good model. I know 4.7 wasn't as good as 4.6, or it was better, but they did some mistakes. But 4.8, they fixed most of the things that we love, right? And 4.8 is a really good, really, really good model. And is I think it's 4x less chance that it's going to make a mistake, right? Or is going to do something without asking, right? So that's even really good. Okay, so Opus 4.8, right? Sonnet 4.6 is the mid ground. All right, if you have little limits and you're paying only $20 a month, right, and you're on Opus 4.8 and you're like reasoning quite high or something like that, you're gonna burn tokens very fast, and you're gonna hit your limits very fast. Your limits are gonna reset in 5 hours, and then you have a weekly limit, right? So you want to plan stuff with 4.8, like your big plans and your Q3 goals, things like that. You want to plan with Opus 4.8, but you potentially want Sonnet, Sonnet in the mids or something like that, in reasoning to do the work, right? Sonnet 4.6 is a great model. Hopefully we'll get an update to 4.7 or maybe directly to 4.8 very soon. It's a great model to get tasks done. It's not as good as Opus 4.8 in thinking through plans and planning incredible stuff, right? Okay, that's what's important. Yes, and I think that I'm going to put this on the screen, if I may, Anush, is if anything's unclear, ask your questions in the chat. I check the chat, I answer the chat. This is our webinar together. These are like office hours. Yes, I do have an agenda, but if you ask, we answer. And one thing that I say always in my trainings, if you have a question, there's a 90% chance that others have the same question and they just are hesitating and they're shy, right? And they don't ask, right? Okay, so please don't hesitate if you have a question. Sonnet 4.6 at a medium effort, high, max, great, but at a medium also good. Okay, thinking is on is important. That's the reasoning level, right? Yes, plan stuff with 4.8. Thank you, Pratna. That's an awesome one, right? Yes, plan it with the best model you have, right? I think that's what's the key here. Plan with the best frontier model you have, but that doesn't mean have the best frontier model execute, if that makes sense, right? Okay, you want lower models potentially to execute. Sonnet 4.6, great. Haiku 4.5, you want a quick labeling of emails, understanding, a quick thing about a spreadsheet and something like that. You can use Haiku. Haiku is a great model as well. It's fast, it's cheap, it's gonna consume less tokens, so less of your limits is gonna go, right? Okay. All right, cool. So I'm gonna plan now. So I'm gonna go on Opus 4.8. Okay. All right. If anybody wants have some use cases in mind and they want me to tackle some use cases, I'm always all ears. Just tell me like, oh, I really wanna. I'd love to see this, right? Tim, can you show us this or anything like that? You can always say it on the chat, and I'd be happy to tackle it. Okay, but I do have some kind of use cases myself that I will test now. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So now let's do this. So let's do something quite simple first, but also with a little twist that I think you're gonna like. Okay. So I'm gonna say something like this. Is my dictation doesn't seem to be wanting to work now. 1 second. Go on Google Analytics and look at our week over week of the past week to this week numbers, and give me some insights on which are the pages that are performing and the sources that are performing, and other things that I would like as a marketeer. So something quite simple, okay, and I'm not going more complex, all right. And as you can see, we have Opus 4.8, all right. We have everything ready, and I'm just gonna send this out, okay. It's on test cowork folder. I'm gonna send this out. So why am I doing this task first? I want you to see, all right, a couple of things. Well, first, now it's working on it. What is it going to do? It's going to start the virtual machine, right? It's going to start this virtual environment, okay? And I know that they've done an update on the virtual machines last week, something cool, right? So what it's done, it started, and as you can see, it's already starting to load tools. It's potentially going to be like, okay, well, I don't have a Google Analytics tool because there isn't a Google Analytics tool. As you can see, it's starting to search for MCP registry. Let's close this out so that you can have a bit of a clear view, right? What I love in Cowork yeah, here we go, on the top right, you're gonna have right away your progress, pulling GA4 week over week data, okay? And then it's going to be second task. And then as you can see, there's test cowork, and it's already created a file inside, okay? Instructions file, so the Claude.md file inside that folder, all right? And oh, look at this. This is what I was hoping for and waiting for. And what it's done, can you see what it's done, right? It started Claude in Chrome, right? So it started a tab, okay, on Chrome, okay, and it's gone to Google Analytics. So it's navigating to my Google Analytics account, right? And remember, okay, Claude in Chrome is a Chrome extension that you install, and then Claude is a Claude Cowork or Claude Code as well, right? Not the chat, by the way, is able to start taking control of your browser. Right, important, because people are like, oh well, Google Analytics doesn't have an MCP or a connector, right? And people tell me like, oh well, how do you do things on LinkedIn? It's not bot friendly or whatever, right? This Claude in Chrome is one of the best things ever. Okay, so I love it. It's still quite early days of it. I think they can do much better, right? But it does a lot of great stuff. It does already most of the stuff that I want to do, right? So as you can see, I'm just opening that up just to show you. So if I click on Claude in Chrome, that opens it up here. Actually, you can open the tab and see it yourself as well working, right? But luckily now you don't even have to, right? Because it's inside the same environment, and I love it, right? So as you can see, it's reasoning, right? So it was finding table dimension drop downs, it was waiting 5 seconds, it was navigating, it was doing all of that stuff, and you can see it's doing 18 tool calls, right? And it keeps taking screenshots, and then right, the thing that it does, it basically takes screenshots, okay? It waits, takes screenshots, sees it, takes screenshots, sees it. By the way, they changed, like it used to be like this, which is great. Now you see the latest updates on the top, right? It waits because it's acting like a human, okay? And also it's taking screenshots, right? So it takes the screenshots and then it reads the screenshot. It understands what's in front of it on the screenshot. Right, I speak so fast that I have to drink some water sometime. And you can see all of the actions it's taking, right? So it's extracting page text now, right? So it's going to extract the whole thing, as you can see, all the users, blah blah blah, everything that it sees on that tab, it's exporting those, and you can see it has a mouse, it has a keyboard, and it's taking actions. Okay, this is why I love Claude in Chrome, right? Especially, okay? And boom, right? We got our answer. Let's close this out, right? So that's Claude in Chrome, okay? It did that, and as you can see, the context, there's a connector, right? There is the Claude in Chrome itself. There is a test cowork instructions, and then the progress was pull the week over week data, week on week data from Google Analytics, and analyze and deliver marketing insights. Very simple, by the way, right? Nothing huge here. But I did about 14 years of marketing a while ago, right? And this used to take like Friday, couple hours, right? Go and compare, put it in a spreadsheet and analyze it and stuff. This used to take like half the day or a couple of hours, right? Okay. And of course, in offices, we were not as productive. I would go to the coffee machine, chat with people, and people would bother you all the time, right? But here, so we pulled your AR per GA4 property, comparing May 27 to June from versus May 20 to 26, right? So the week before to this week, which makes sense. Sessions last week change. Oh, we have a big drop. Uh-oh. Why is that, right? So that's a good one, right? Here we go. It's even telling me what actually happened. That's awesome. The drop is mostly one blog post deflate. Your ChatGPT agent mode post went from 282 views to 124 views, so that's a 56% drop. Last week it was driving nearly a quarter of our landing sessions. Wow. Okay. So SERP features social pickup and user that's now decay. Okay, so we would have to work that out. We have to update that maybe. Maybe ChatGPT Codex had some new features. Maybe we should write about that, right? So right away I can start thinking about things because it's helping me brainstorm, and I can even start brainstorming here, right? The number should not worry you. That should worry you more is leads halved. Right? So we got 56 to 27 on contacts view, right? It was bringing buyers. We're checking which queries. That's cool. Direct traffic is half your session. It is in junk, right? That's okay. Yeah. What's working? Oh, Claude content is your growth story. The Claude for work skills post grew 18% views with the best engagement time of any top page. That's awesome. The Claude for work and skills post grew. So we should work on that, right? Small but real channel wins, LinkedIn referrals, 42, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. What I do this week. This is what I love about this thing, right? Bam. Double down on Claude adjacent content. It's the only content cluster growing organically right now, and core work skills is a hot topic. Check Search Console for the agent mode. Oh, it's a check Search Console. Let's do that as well. Why not? Okay, go check Google Search Console as well, and give me a bit more insights before we take actions. Right? So I just say it. I just saw it. Go check Google Search Console. It told me Google Search Console. Why did I not go and open that up? It's gonna boom. It's gonna create the task. We're gonna get some new tasks. Right? Here we go. And then it's gonna open Clothing Chrome in a second again, and it's gonna change the page. Right? It's gonna start taking some actions on the browser again, and now it's going to go to Google Search Console. Yeah. So you don't need APIs. Oh, here we go. We're on Google Search Console. So you don't need APIs, but it's on my festival. I have a music festival called Electronic Certme. It's on my music festivals Google Search Console. Hopefully it's going to know to switch it, but funny enough, it's not on the same email address. So if it doesn't, I know why. Okay, that's something that I have to fix so that it's easier, right? But it should be fine. Let's see what it's gonna do, right? Okay, so in the meantime, right, I'm just double checking. It's kind of trying to switch, hopefully, right? It's I think it should be understanding, right? We will see if it really starts understanding that. Okay, it should, but again, this is AI. You can't trust 100%, but you should trust it massively, and then you are the human in the loop. Okay, but I think it found it, by the way, right? So yeah, well done. It switched my email, right? It switched my login, right? Because I'm already logged in as well, but it went on the bottom, top right. It switched my profile to my other profile. It found Google Search Console, and it's gone there, right? And obviously, right now I'm talking about what it's doing, but imagine that I'm doing 4 or 5 other things, right? That's what's important. Okay, cool. So now, as it's doing this, the goal here, let's say this is a repetitive task that I do every week, right? I do this every Friday, let's say, or every Monday, or Wednesday to Wednesday if you really want, because today's Wednesday, right? But let's say that we do this, once a week, okay? And how do we automate this? Right? That's the big question that most are gonna have, right? So we want to turn. By the way, let's see if we can just let this run and then see if we can do a new task, okay? And then we can come to actually scheduled, right? So we could exactly take that prompt, right? We could put it in here. We could set up manually. I might schedule tasks. Okay, so I could say something like weekly Google Analytics and Google Search Console, right? Or maybe it could have been weekly marketing insights, right? But I said this, right? This is the name. It's not gonna work because it's gonna work. Actually, it saves it now. It's gonna do hyphens in between. Okay, I could have the weekly marketing insights or whatever. Okay, that's the call. I put a quick description, right? Week over week comparison of Google Analytics numbers and Google Search Console numbers. All right, perfect. I've put that in the description as well. And then now I can put my prompt. Okay, so my first prompt was Google Analytics, and then I did Google Search Console, so I can make a better prompt here, right? And you can kind of build a prompt, bring it here, or you could just write the prompt here. All right, so let me just do it very quickly for the sake of it, and I'll show you how we can make it much better very quickly. every week, go to Google Analytics for the AI operator property and check the week, compare the week over week, and understand sources and insights from Google Analytics. But also do the same on Google Search Console and then bring them together to give me recommendations of how to improve those numbers week over week by comparing the previous weeks. Use Claude in cron and make sure everything's actionable. Not the best prompt of my life, all right? But it's okay. It should do the job more than, more than enough, all right? Here we go, okay? You could now put that in a folder like we just did. I put it on my test cowork. Imagine that you have a marketing folder, right? So you can put it in there, all right? I put it on test cowork. And I'm not going to ask before acting anymore because it would stop. It would ask me. It would wait for me. I don't want that. I'm going to act without asking, okay? And I have all these tools, and maybe I don't want all these tools, so you can kind of decide on that, but it's fine. And I'm going to say act without asking cron, okay? And then it's very clear that I just wanted to go to Google Analytics and then to also Google Search Console. It's not going to go anywhere else. Yeah? Makes sense? All right. Any questions so far, right? I'm checking the chat at the same time, making sure that we're all here and, we're engaging with this. All right. So now that I have that, I have to decide on a couple of things before we get here. Let's decide on the model. Actually, this is an okay task for Sonnet 4.6, right? It'll be faster. It's a good model. It's more than enough for this, right? It's not rocket science at all. Okay. You can see that it made some mistakes. I mean, I'm sure I'll figure it out, but I fixed it right for a second. And then I'm going to do this now. I have Sonnet 4.6. I'm going to do it weekly. I'm going to do this. I think I want this. Do I want this every Friday? I like it every Friday. You know why? Because on every Friday, I kind of finish the week and then I start kind of putting stuff for the week after. And on Sunday, I prepare my week, right? So I'd love to have this like on a 5 p.m. on a Friday. I'd love to read this out and then go sleep on it kind of thing, right? It helps me a lot, okay? All right. So now I save this. So now, as long as this computer, all right, is open, and by the way, is this computer. So I have Claude here as well, right, on my laptop, but Claude Cowork and the projects that I have inside here, they're not the same. Yeah, they're not the same. Okay, so this thread is not going to appear on my laptop. Just FYI. Okay, it's a bit tricky like that. Okay, so this is now mapped out. Okay, it runs during peak hours and will consume your usage limits fast. That's fine. All right, I have good plans, right? So it's fine. I have max plans and stuff like that, right? But just be careful, be aware of what you're doing. I think that Kubi had built something really cool. I don't know if he still has that, so he can put it on the chat. But it's like to understand your limits and when to use your limits and when to use your tokens or things like that, right? It's important. I have few accounts, so I don't really care, but some people do care, and I think they should. So check it out. So keep awake. This is to keep awake my computer. Now I have that. It's on my Mac Mini. I leave my Mac Mini on. I have all my settings in my Mac Mini so that it never sleeps, never closes, and so on. So now I can go, and on Friday I'll have this at 5 p.m., right? So it'll take a few minutes and so on. So 5:05 or 5:10 or whatever, I will have this task finished. Yeah. And this task will be there. By the way, I could have continued on this task, right? I could have edited this task, and because it has connectors as well, I could have said, email me the results at timaioperator.com and cc kubi at aioperator.com, right? Okay, and then maybe let's just make it use Gmail connector. All right, so I'm just kind of making it a bit clearer for it, right? So now, as long as this computer is open on Fridays at that time, it's going to do Google Analytics, Google Search Console week over week. It's going to do insights, recommendations, and then it's going to send email to me, CC and Kubi. How awesome is that? Like, literally, like, has anyone done this already? Like, this is where AI starts getting really good, right? Okay, please do these type of things. Okay. Right. So of course you can see there's more ideas here. Daily brief. This is the classic one. Like this is literally what everybody does. You click on daily brief and it does it, which is good by the way, because if you have your connectors, okay, it's gonna do daily brief, Gmail, Google Calendar. I can even ask it Notion and Slack because we have tasks on Notion and we have conversations on Slack, right? And I could get it to have a daily brief every day at 7 a.m. It recommends. I'm sleeping at 7 a.m. Right? Um, and then it's what, I'm not the 6 a.m. guy whatsoever at all. I'm a night owl, right? I get creative at night. So it's designing now the prompt and so on. And then when I'm happy with it, I can schedule it. I might tell it a little bit more things like, make sure to look also on, because you can see it has Gmail, Google Calendar, but I don't think, oh, it has a bit of granular. Does it do in a bit of Notion as well? I don't think so. So you would add something like, you know, make sure to check my tasks on Notion, the task database on Notion. Also, what was the other thing I was going to do? So Notion tasks for sure. Oh yeah, on Slack, and make sure that I have, from past day, all the conversation insights, TLDR of the conversations, and anything that maybe I haven't answered or I haven't seen yet. Right, make sure to summarize that as well. Right. So let's say that I'm adding all of that as well. I'm just going to queue that up. Okay. And actually, I've queued that up. Let's schedule this. Um, and then this should go on there as well. Right. So it's going to kind of update that. Right. So you saw the other way of doing this. Right. So if you do, scheduled, remember, if I do new task, I can create with Claude or I can set up manually. If we click with create with Claude, that's exactly what just happened. Okay, so Claude is helping me create that task, right? Here we go. Calendar, emails, Notion task, Slack recap, items needing attention. This is perfect, right? This is perfect. Update, right? At 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, weekdays only, I will have my weekday morning brief, right? But it's not gonna be my here are the news. It's gonna be like, all right, well, boom, your Gmail, boom, your Google Calendar, what's on today, boom, on Slack, this is what happened yesterday with your team, this is what you're missing, boom, Notion, your tasks, right? So what am I doing? I'm using all the connectors, I'm using contexts, right? So this is context engineering at its best, but at the simplest as well at the same time, by the way, right? This is simple stuff. Okay. So here we go. That's done. Right. So now I know that it's gonna happen. Again, I could have just said email me this. Right. Okay. So now let's kind of take this up in a notch in a second, but I'm just making sure that there are no questions. I'm checking LinkedIn there, maybe YouTube. I think YouTube comments comes very quick, so that's fine. Um, what is one task you repeat every week? Right. I think that's a great question. Let's see if we can put that on the screen. Here we go. That's on the screen. My team just asked, what is one task you repeat every week? Right. Think about that task. Right. We have so many, and I know that when you're asked, you're like, oh no, I don't know, and everybody gets confused. I know that happens, but but um but you'd be shocked if you start really thinking about it. You might have some really good stuff, by the way, right? Okay, cool. So I'm just double checking my notes here. All right, cool. So we've kind of done the marketing stuff. I think that's a good one. We've done also the morning briefing, right? The daily brief, right? So like overnight emails, calendar, priority items, and so on. By the way, you can also add things like competitor analysis, right? So I could let's remove this from the screen. Now I could have another task where I search for my competitors every week. I research and I check if they've done anything new. By the way, if you have your computer open, right, remember, and you have Cowork open, and you have Claude in Chrome, you could even say, hey, go to these competitors' LinkedIn pages and check all the LinkedIn posts they've done. Check if they've launched any new blog posts. Check if they have any events, any webinars, right? And really, you can stay on top of your competitors that way as well. Yeah, so that's incredible. We couldn't do this before because it would take manual time, right? Or we would buy tools to do this. Cool. So making sure here we're good. All right, cool. So that's really in a nutshell, the simplest stuff is create tasks, do the tasks, and you can just do them once, right? You have them in folders. You can let them act. Good models or good like okay models to do the job, or very good models to kind of plan, right? And then you can schedule those, right? So you can basically just say it, I want this to become, oh, I have 3 Cowork invites with $10 usage credits. If anybody wants those, let me know, right? Okay. I'll just copy the invite link and I'll put it somewhere so that it's easily. All right, here we go. I've added that, right? So that's my referral link apparently, right? So if you ever want that link, let me know. So cool. As you can see, that task that we had started as well, that's also gone and it's done Google Search Console, headline numbers and the changes. Okay. And it's really, it's a branded search dip, not an SEO problem. Wow. Okay. Right. So that's really cool. The agent mode blog post was never a Google story, barely registers in. You see what I mean? Like we did Google Analytics and Google Analytics says other things, and Google Search Console is more about SEO, right? And click the spike GA showing it at your top, but its traffic spike came from somewhere else. Like the AI says, news that's so dark social. Wow, look at that. Right, so nothing to fix there, right? But interesting noise, right? It's giving you all that stuff, the opportunities that it reveals, and so on. And this is gonna be a great task that I think I would love to make this repeat every week, right? Okay, and you can read it aloud and so on. This is a great one. All right, and you can literally say here now, create this as a scheduled task, and it will create it, by the way. Okay. All right. So we understood task, we've understood scheduled, but how about projects? So right now I've been working on a folder, right? So these have been in a folder, like, so this was in a test folder, right? So where's my test cowork folder? But imagine that I wanted to do this in a project, right? So you can kind of now do Claude Cowork in projects, and they're really good, right? So I do a new project, right? And let's say that I start from scratch, and I'm gonna call this marketing insights, right? Okay, and then let's just give it very quick insights. Like act as a marketing manager or like a chief marketing officer. Make sure that everything is clearly with recommendations and next steps and so on. Right, very simple again. I can add some files to have in the context, right? So I can add, past files. I could ask maybe 2025 numbers and 2026 Q1 numbers and what has happened, just to be very quick search instead of like going and checking this every time, right? I use this project location. It will automatically give you a project location, which is documents, Claude, projects, right? And marketing insights is created that. Okay, right? Again, I'm creating a project inside Claude Cowork, but it's also a folder that I have in my computer. Remember, this is why Claude Cowork right now, it doesn't work on the browser, okay? Because it's a very local thing. It's a sandboxed environment. It launches a virtual machine in your computer, right? Okay. Memory is on. That's great. Okay, so it can learn things. It can put things, and it could also use the memory that it already has. All right, and I can create it. Right. So cool. I've given it very quick instructions, but I definitely would work on these instructions, right? So let's say that if I was doing the same kind of thing, I would potentially do something like this myself, right? I would say, okay, can you give me these as a clear project instruction for a Claude projects, for a Claude Cowork projects, but very clear instructions, right? So I'm asking it, oh, that's, yeah. Can you give me these as a clear project instruction for a Claude project, for a Claude? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So as you can see, so this is the repetitive things that I talk to a lot of people all the time. Okay, it's you do some tasks, like just look at your Claude, right, or your ChatGPT, by the way, right, and then look at the threads and where you're starting to do some good work, and you're like, oh my god, I love that thread. That thread has been working, and every Friday I'm looking at marketing numbers in that thread. Right. And by the way, token context window, you're gonna start losing some information. Luckily, we have memory these days, but that's another topic that we could have a whole other webinar about it, but we're not gonna get there. Right. So so in this case, look at those threads and find those repetitive work and find those threads that did really well. And at the end of the thread, ask for instructions. Right, here you go. Look, this is also a type of an artifact, by the way, right? All called canvas. On ChatGPT, on Gemini is called canvas, on Claude is called artifacts. Right. So I created a document here, right? Project instructions, weekly marketing analytics. There is a role, there's an output format. This there's a very big chance this is great. It said run every Monday morning. That's fine. I could change those things. You could say, hey, not every Monday morning, blah blah blah, things like that, right? So I can put this on Google Drive. I can save it and so on. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this for now, right? And I'm gonna go back to my projects, and I'm gonna go back to that one. All right, let's just go inside it, and I'm gonna go to my instructions, and I'm actually gonna change that, and then I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, actually, right? Swoop. All right, just to get some space, and potentially I would say run every Friday morning, right? Okay, and then save. Okay, so now I have clear instructions. All right, and then I have a schedule here. All right, so I can schedule that. Okay, so the tasks that I already had, actually I could bring them on these projects, right? Because this is the marketing analyst, but maybe it's not the exact project that I want to go do, which it kind of is, because that's what I did. But you can see the difference. I could bring some different tasks here now, right? So let's say that I had two tasks that I already had, right? So I brought those on here, and I've scheduled them inside the project. By the way, this is quite new, right? I have the context, right? So that is on my computer. It's marketing insights, the folder. It's empty for now, but it's going to kind of build over. And then I have memory. Ask Claude to remember something, and it'll save it here. Okay, so that's awesome, right? And I can actually, on the instructions, by the way, you could say, you know, after each week's recommendation, save it into the memory so that you can compare also the week after with your memory and what we've learned and how we can get better at marketing, things like that, right? So now actually, I don't even have to do anything on this anymore, because every Friday at 5 p.m. and every weekday at 7 a.m., okay, it's going to have morning brief, and then it's going to have weekly Google Analytics, but it has this instruction for the project, right? So maybe I would have kind of made the project a little bit, the instructions a bit more about a role of, the marketing analyst, or what does the marketing analyst do in my business, how should the marketing analyst talk in my business, and how should it represent things, and so on. And then I would give it a bunch of scheduled tasks, Friday stuff, Monday SEO, content calendar preparations, drafting things, and so, like, there's so much you could do. Can you imagine all the things that you could do, right? You could do so much. It's literally, you know I think the biggest problem is that everybody tells me is like, well, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do, right? And I think that the best way, if that I find, is to go back and then look at your threads and find those threads that have been doing really well for you, that you've done some really good stuff, right? And then put those in there, right? Okay. Yeah, and then start building those as things. And I think I had some here, like, just for us to kind of weekly report draft, aggregate the metrics and highlights and blockers, content calendar review, client follow-up reminders, scan the CRM or notes, right? If you have the connector, you can. Even if you don't have the connector, remember you have Claude and Cron, so it could log in. If you're logged in, it's going to go and it's going to look at your whatever CRM, wherever your CRM is, which is awesome, right? You don't need the connector, the MCP, right? Morning briefing, we kind of touched upon it. Competitive monitoring, I mentioned. KPI dashboard refresh. Oh, okay. Let's actually kind of take that in, and then let's show, as we have 10 minutes kind of left, and I'm checking if there's any questions. But let's kind of go to live artifacts now, because we understood now this is, and everything that happens is going to be inside here, right? And we're going to have, the thread, and that's going to be our marketing insights project with this instructions, with these scheduled tasks that is going to happen inside this project, with the context and the memory, right? So that's gold, okay? But now I want to show you live artifacts, if we can get this done very quickly, right? So let's do a new artifact. Let's say create with Claude, because I don't think you can do anything else, right? Today's Slack mentions week at a glance, unread email digest. That's a good one. What needs my attention? Actually, I like that as well, right? But what I want to do is I'm going to say new artifact, right? So new live artifact. It's going to open it up. Boom, here we go. And it says, this is the artifact I want, MCP servers. Ask me a few questions to figure out what kind of live artifact would be most useful for me, right? And now I'm going to kind of say KPI dashboard, right? But I'm going to say about the marketing stuff, right? So that'll be good, okay? And maybe I can give it a working folder again if I want to, right? So here we go. It's already starting to ask things, right? So morning command center, client pipeline tracker, meeting follow-up tracker, team activity digest. But I want, since we started with this marketing concept, right? And I think that AI is so good now, right? That it can do most of your marketing stuff, by the way, right? It's really good. It's Opus 4.8, Planet, get Sonnet to actually execute on it. You know, you know, I think I think you can do so much stuff that it's, you know, if you're thinking, oh, AI is not good, I think it's how you use it. You know, so please come to our webinars. Please sign up to my newsletter. They're free. Right? Literally, they're free. I'm not asking you money whatsoever. Go sign up to my YouTube channel. You know, subscribe, follow, LinkedIn. Right, do all that because I'm going to give you all this information for free. Right, that's how I am. You know, I want you to all this have for free. Right, okay, literally, because it just, you know, when it changes your life, I'm happy. Right, and you can't put a, you know, you can't put a price on that happiness that I get and the nice messages. Right, so I think there's a QR code for my newsletter. It's completely free. It's every Wednesday. You know, and I literally, you know, say everything that I want. I write everything. It's transparent. I draft it, then I give it to our content writer, copywriter, just to polish it. But I do write it by just dictating, right? Like, so I give everything in there, right? So you can always find the most information, the things I'm thinking about, and stuff like that, right? So it's going to help you a ton, okay, if you're not already on there. So let's do this. Oh, a marketing insights dashboard with Google Analytics, Google Search Console, SEO, recommendations, and also maybe a little bit of competitor analysis as well of what they're doing on LinkedIn and so on, right? So also it should use Claude and Chrome. It should use some of the scheduled tasks that we have. We can redesign them, which is go to Google Analytics week over week, go to Google Search Console week over week, right? Go to LinkedIn, look at our competitors, you know, look at our post, how they're doing, you know, look at our YouTube channel, how it's doing, you know, and give me a really good marketing dashboard for me to understand the marketing of our operator. Right? So again, I'm not the best prompt whatsoever. Do I need the best prompt whatsoever? No, because right now it's going to kind of start doing the prompt for me, right? Here we go. It's asking already all that stuff, right? And I'm going to go mainly Claude in Chrome, right? Mainly Claude in Chrome, right? How should the president in dense dashboard AI rating briefing? Oh, okay. I think interactive boards, right? That's kind of what we want. All right. So now I'll give it a live artifact. All right. So I'm building a live artifact. So live artifacts are incredible because these are these dashboards that are live and they refresh each time, right? Okay, each time you kind of visit it, it refreshes. So how would that work with Claude and Chrome? That's a good question, right? But it's using the scheduled tasks, right? So as you can see, it has a scratch pad. It's writing a skill, right? And you can see it's a weekly Google Analytics and Google Search Console skill. I think because we already had that skill, so it's using that skill. Oh yeah, it's viewed that skill. It took it in the scratch pad, right? And it's kind of stopped building all of that stuff, right? Okay. And it's thinking now and it's going to build this dashboard, right? It might take some time. I'm just not, I'm curious about this one. Claude Chrome, will it launch Claude Chrome every time? I think what I could do is I could schedule the task of Claude Chrome to bring that information so that when I open the live artifact is already updated. But when you build live artifacts, you mainly it's about connectors, right? And then when you open that thread back up, it just refreshes. It takes a minute and it takes back those numbers, right? I'll say you name them, right? What is the AI operator YouTube channel? Oh, it's AIX operator, right? Okay. Yeah. So now it's building all that stuff, right? And then we're gonna have an artifact. I had an artifact here that I could show, but as you can see, the artifact that I have on my MacBook Pro is not going to work on here because it's separate environments, right? So very important to understand. Yes, it's yeah, I think I'm going to do both, right? Big consultants, BCG, and so on, and Superside Similar Agents. Yeah, Superside Similar Agents. Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, we were compared, like we won a deal against McKinsey. You know, not here to brag, but one of the best things that happened in my career lately was like they were going to go with McKinsey or with us. So Imagine, right? So this is why I'm here. I'll give you all this information for free, guys. Just join, right? And if you do have a great company and you're a CEO, or you know someone, or you're a private equity firm, or you're working for one, and you want to bring us on board, right? And you want us to train all your teams, and audit and roadmaps, and behavior change programs, and agent building, and so on. We're here. Just remember us. Okay, that's the only ask I have from you, right? Just don't forget about us. Okay. So Claude wants to use create Notion database from Notion. Oh wow. Okay, this is awesome. It's even tied to marketing weekly snapshots. This is awesome. Like, I didn't even say create the Notion database, but because it has the Notion connector, right? What it's going to do is creating a Notion database so they can fill up this Notion database as well. And then, oh wow, and then it's going to use the Notion database as the database for the live artifact. Oh man, this is Claude Cowork, ladies and gentlemen. Right, this is literally Claude Cowork. This is going to take a bit of time because it's got a bunch of stuff, but I'm glad that it's not even show the dashboard yet, because I want you to go and create your first Claude Cowork task, schedule it, and then build a live artifact. Yeah. And then when you've done this multiple times, all right, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, this is great. You might want to create a skill, right? So that's where you go to customize. And here you can create skills. We'll do another whole webinar on skills. Skills is a whole, couple of sessions most of the time, right? Skills, plugins, these are a whole session. I know next one is office hours, so come for questions. But Anuj, we should definitely do one about Claude skills, Claude plugin, and building and customizing all that stuff. But yeah, the next one is office hours. Bring your workflow. We'll fix it live. Literally. So please, bring what you have. I don't know how. I think we can invite you. Yeah, maybe we can have a guest link, right, on the restream. If you want to come in and you want to be, the guinea pig kind of thing, but in a nice way, because it's going to be free consulting, right? Free consulting, right? So you bring your stuff and you're like, oh, this works. It doesn't work. I love this. Can you help me here? Just bring it. Sign up to office hours. Bring your workflow. We'll fix it live. Right. Scan that QR code. Sign up to LinkedIn event. Follow us. Follow my newsletter and so on. And come. We're gonna do more office hour type of things. Come and get the most you can. Right. I'm dedicated to giving you the most value I can for free. So please and come and get that, right? So as you can see, it keeps building, and it's awesome because this might take time, but data layer verified. The database is live and the query returns a clean shape. Now redesigning the scheduled task and building a dashboard. Mamma mia, right? This is mamma mia, right? It kind of was like, where do I store this information? It's like, well, I'm going to use your Notion connector. I'm going to create the database there. I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to use it for the dashboard. And the scheduled task is going to keep feeding that, right? So, and it's updating that scheduled task so that it keeps feeding the Notion, and then the live artifact is going to work from the Notion database. Guys, even my guys at AR, like we don't even use enough of these stuff ourselves, like because we're so focused on clothing, Claude code in the terminal that we forget about Claude Cowork, right? And we should use more Claude Cowork as well. And as you can see, as we are, bam, we just got an update. We launched the update. I bet you it's great in the little update as well, right? So awesome. This is literally creating it as we go on. And it's going to build a dashboard artifact. It might show it in a minute or not, but in the meantime, let me make sure that to remember about office hours. It's on Wednesday 24th of June at 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, London time, live session with myself. Please bring your workflow. If not, I'll have to bore everybody with my content again, right? But if you bring your workflow, we're gonna do it together. We're gonna fix it. We're gonna have some fun, right? Yeah. I hope you really enjoyed this session. I enjoyed this session a lot, and I was like curious. And oh yes, here we go. It's kind of come in. It's having some issues, but as you can see, because it didn't have the query, I'm fixing. Oh wow, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, this is it. We have our Google Analytics impressions, our Google Search Console, LinkedIn impressions, YouTube views, Analytics Search Console, LinkedIn competitors. Mamma mia, right? YouTube recommendations. I can fix a little bit. You have the weeks. You can run the collection now, and you have your live dashboard. You can also share it right? You can download as PDF. Sorry, you can't share it yet. Yes, live artifacts you can't share. The other artifacts you can share, but live artifacts cannot be shared yet because it's in Cowork on your computer. Remember that, right? I'm sure they're gonna find something, and I know what's coming. It's like a lovable kind of thing. You'll be able to host these on your environments. Yeah, this was awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. I've had a ton of fun. Thanks again, and see you on the 24th of June. This was Claude Cowork by Tim Cakir and myself, right? AI operator. Stay safe. No, I don't know. That was a COVID thing. That's been a while. It's like, stay with AI, clothing all day, right? Thank you very much, everybody. Much love.